What's up? How's everybody doing today? I'm doing pretty good. I hope everybody's doing good. Man, um, checking out the Bravia 9 today. And just really game mode. We might switch into something else later if you guys want to. It really is gonna just kind of play the stream by ear, really. I start off with Spider-Man 2, because I think that's a really good showcase game. And I want to mess with settings and sort of yeah, just kind of mess around, take questions. It's gonna be a chill stream, not too much critiquing going on in terms of like blooming and black levels, things like that. I'm just kind of trying to show you what the Bravia 9 is capable of for game mode, and I'll answer questions if you guys have any on game mode. Um, so yeah, let's kind of run it. I might turn off the sound if it's distracting, but it's just there. So the G4 versus Bravia 9 video should be out tomorrow, unless I hit some snags with recording tonight in terms of my audio. But I should be good, unless I lose my voice or something this stream. I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't plan on talking that much. We're just gonna be showcasing. How's the video look? Hopefully good. I did zoom it in a little bit so you guys could see. This is just the cutscenes recapping Spider-Man. So yeah, what's up? What's up, everybody? Let me say what's up to everybody in the chat. Let me see if I can see chat even. Yeah, I'm using the new camera for this. Testing the streaming capabilities, see how it goes. This is a Blackmagic 6K cinema camera. Still want to get a better lens for it, but yeah. So how does it look right now on stream to you guys? I know sometimes it looks bright on my camera and on my monitor, but in stream it can look a little bit darker. So I try to overexpose just a tiny bit to compensate for that, but I think I've nailed it looking at my phone and seeing it. So looks pretty good so far. So yeah, a few people starting to roll in chat. We'll play around with settings once we get into the overworld here. So it is on default game mode. Just kind of showing you. Let's reset it just to make sure everything is going to be in standard game by default. People were asking like what's the drop off between professional mode and game mode. There might be a slight brightness drop off, but it doesn't seem too noticeable. And like within the PS5 I'm not able to toggle, but I did try this in like very bright content. Spears of Munzel, tried that in that, and rotated from game mode to outside of game mode. I really didn't see a ton of like loss in luminance. If there was something, it was very slight. So all right, let's start it off. I don't know how good the audio is going to be picked up, but we'll try.
Be ready. Are you good?
Promise me something.
Anything. Bye.
I'm not going to lose you. I will never let you go.
Can you guys hear the audio? Is it good?
Take your seats. Good morning, class. We have a new teacher joining us today.
Just realized I had the noise gate on. My bad.
Hi.
Probably was a little weird sounding.
My name's Pete, or Mr. Parker. And we are all very lucky today, because this is physics class, and physics is awesome. Ever wonder how some insects and birds and reptiles can just run right across a pond? 2 words. Surface tension.
You don't hear the TV?
Bathroom?
Hold on.
Okay. Now, surface tension is all about cohesion. Now, in equation form, surface tension, gamma, can be calculated as the force exerted parallel to the surface of a liquid. F
Probably not gonna be super loud,
divided
but
by the length, L, of the line over which the force acts. Can anybody... I need your help. Mr. Morales, is it? Are you sure this isn't something you can handle yourself? I'm sure. Okay, class. Read chapter 4 or 5 or whatever. Miles, I need this job. If the principal comes back and sees I'm gone, I'm gonna get fired.
I know, but you gotta see this.
Not today.
all right. So I don't know if you guys could have heard that, but I just wanted to kind of demonstrate the TV speakers because they're pretty amazing. But yeah, it's probably didn't get picked up as good as I would liked. I didn't directly have the microphone on the TV itself, so yeah, the Bravia 9 sounds amazing. I like it a lot, CJ. I think that overall, probably some of the best TV speakers that are out there. Like, it has this nice up-firing speakers that really fills the whole room, makes it sound just full and awesome. Everything on it sounds great. So I need to turn off the sound for the controller. I don't know how to do that because that's pretty loud. And here it is. All right, I turn that off. Otherwise, that is gonna distract me. I always freak out because I forget that the PlayStation controller makes noise, and I was like, I swear I muted it, and then I realized it's coming from the controller. So. Opposite of vibrant in game mode, you think this is not vibrant? I really think this is pretty vibrant, honestly. So let's look at settings. One thing that, I have it on gradation preferred, but we could put on brightness preferred for the sake of this video. Local dimming is set to medium, could be high if you want it to be. I seem to think that medium gives you better presentation and HDR from what I've seen. So I keep it on that. We can use live color if you want to. the advanced contrast enhancer isn't on Sony TVs anymore for game mode. It's kind of a bummer because it's like I know a lot of people use that. Game mode looks flat. I don't think it looks flat. Might look flat on stream. Again, YouTube can probably make it look a little bit more flat than what it looks like. So let me see what I can do. Oh, maybe that'll help. Maybe that'll help. One more thing. Let me try one more thing. All right, how's that look? I adjusted some things to make it look better on stream. I don't know if it'll come across, but oh yeah, I keep going past the mission thing. I mean, overall, the game on this TV looks pretty amazing, man. Pretty amazing. So like people were asking about game mode. Is it bright? Is it colorful? Oh yeah, for sure it is. Games like this really do shine on the Bravia 9. So I think like your bright, colorful games, not an issue at all. Not an issue at all. Do you think the Bravia 9 is overhyped? No, I wouldn't say overhyped. I think that people might have had higher expectations than was very fair for the TV. I don't think it was overhyped. Because it is delivering what another mini LED is not doing in terms of like the blooming control. The overall contrast is as close to OLED as you're gonna get with the mini LED TV. So I don't think it's like necessarily overhyped. I think that people maybe had too high expectations for it. It looks really good. I like the TV a lot. I'm gonna most likely give it a really positive review. There's only a few negatives that I can find, and they're really nitpicky things, man, and really things that are more so inherent to the LCD technology and not necessarily like the Bravia 9's fault per se. You know what I mean? Like there's limitations, but it's not as bad as people think. And people were listening to kind of like my first impressions of game mode, and I don't know, maybe it was too harsh. I didn't think it was harsh at all. I thought I was pretty clear on like it's going to be some of the darker games where that's where you may run into problems with the backlight, having to adjust, and it's just a little bit slow on the backlight. That's pretty typical of LCD TVs and mini LED TVs that I've seen. So I don't think it's overhyped at all, man. I think ultimately people maybe had way too high expectations for it. See, as hype from reviewers had people thinking that. Nobody said it was going to beat OLED though, right? Like nobody said that it was going to be like the next thing that's going to really overtake the flagship premium TVs. But it is a really good TV. Like I think for a lot of people, I will recommend this over an OLED. Just depends on your viewing habits. Because it gets close enough to like some of the premium models, like say the LG G4. You know, I'm doing my comparison. That'll be released pretty soon, and you know, there's a clear contrast difference. But man, when it comes down to like HDR impact, the Bravia 9's not a slouch there. So yeah, I don't think it's one of those things where people give it enough credit in terms of like what it's capable of, because it is capable. It's a very capable TV. So I don't think it's that overhyped, to be honest with you. I got super chat from Sir Holmes. Thank you for the super chat. He says, let's see what it says. I gotta make this a little bit bigger so I can read it. Sorry if I cover the screen for a sec, but he says, I have OLED. I don't see what the big deal is because nothing in real life is perfect pixel black. What about this TV when you watch a movie? What looks more real life, OLED or Bravia 9? It depends on what your definition of real life is. Say like the Bravia 9 definitely can get full screen brightness better than any OLED TV. So, really bright, high average picture level scenes are going to be super impressive on the Bravia 9. That's something where OLED, it may, depending on the OLED, duck it down a little bit. And really all the OLEDs to some degree have ABL still, right? It's just super rare to see because it's like mostly full screen brightness. A lot of movies use black bars, so you typically don't see it in movies as often. It's really just like full screen movies where you're seeing really bright scenes. I mean, and the whole look of it, like the pixel perfect thing, contrast is contrast. And if you see them side by side, your eyes are going to be pulled towards an OLED TV. Just that's how contrast works, man. I think that an OLED TV would win a blind test for most people. But when you talk about the capability of this TV, it's just one of those pluses that you won't get from an OLED TV. And SDR, if you watch a lot of standard dynamic range broadcasts like sports or cable streaming, and it's always in standard dynamic range, that's going to be where the Bravia 9 really shines over an OLED TV. So this question is definitely kind of more so depending on what your definition of real life is. So I think that picture quality wise, they get pretty close as far as colors go. Like a QD OLED, for example, has a little bit better color than, say, the Bravia 9. But the Bravia 9 has a little bit better color capability than, say, like an LG G4, for example. Mainly due to how like aggressive the G4 is tone mapping. And if you're not somebody who's going to try to use like professional mode to get that color back, it will be lost. So yeah, that is something that it's not necessarily tied to the technology, more so tied to the TV as far as keeping color goes and what TVs have the best color. If you're asking me like overall, and I know you didn't ask this, but just since we're on the topic of it, overall, like what has the best color brightness, what has the best color capability, like what can get to color where you can't get on other TVs, it's the S95D. We'll give you that. So Bravia 9 can't quite get to that level, but it still can show pretty good. But yeah, no, that's definitely a hard question to answer, Sir Holmes. Sorry if I couldn't give you a better answer, but I think it's subjective more so than anything else. So it's hard to give a definitive answer on that. But thank you for that question. I think it's a really good question. What's a good TV for a bright living room? I mean, it really depends on your budget. Cincy. Like, if your budget is where this Bravia 9 is, absolutely that. Like, I think Bravia 9 is an awesome bright room living room TV. So, I think the G4 is really good at being a bright room TV as well. We talk about the S95D a lot. That potentially could be a good bright room TV, but, the screen coating depends on how bright your room is, where the light's coming from. There's so many variables with the S95D to consider that it's one of those things that's a tough answer. But it could very well be the S95D is the answer for a lot of people. It's just again, too many variables. But if we're just talking about overall full screen brightness, you watch a lot of SDR maybe in your living room, just the Bravia 9 is going to like fill that void there. But if you have a price bracket that's not the Bravia 9, you start to get into more entry level TVs like Hisense and TCL. They have some pretty bright TVs for an affordable price. Yeah, well, we're just walking around, running around in games, not doing anything special. Just kind of showing you game mode. What's up, TKK? TKK in the house. I see him. I see you. I see you, TKK. TKK. My God, I'm just butchering things today. Let's see. Sky looks natural. Yeah, Sky looks really good in this game. I think the way that they do HDR in Spider-Man is pretty impressive. It doesn't have anything like ridiculous as far as the primaries go. Like, I think the game is mostly 709, but it looks good. Like, so, like, just the way they do HDR in this game, it just looks fantastic, man. We'll get into some other games as well. I got Rise of the Ronin I need to check out. Really liking this new camera. Yeah, me too. On stream, it's definitely harder to appreciate. It'll be way more better to appreciate this off stream because I get to shoot in RAW format. And then once I do that, man, I get to capture all the color information. So, like, when it's streaming, it is kind of limited. I don't get the full capability while I'm streaming it. That's just the downside to this cinema camera. And I don't know if this is going to be like a full-time streaming camera for me. So just keep that in mind. Now, let me look through chat here. Yeah, let's get that. Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. Got distracted. Try to keep trolling to a minimum. Actually, don't troll at all, honestly. Like, let's just stay positive in this stream. We don't need to fight each other. The new 6K I bought. So, it's a Blackmagic Cinema full frame 6K camera. It's awesome, man. I love it a lot. Like, it's so good. And you know what's great about it for streaming is it won't burn out. Like, it won't overheat. So it has a fan built in, and I connect it. I just plug it in and it stays on forever. So if I wanted to do like a 24-hour stream, I'm not going to, but I'm saying hypothetically, if I wanted to, I could with no issues whatsoever. So that's nice. I mean, if it looks washed out, it's most likely because of the streaming. Like I said, when you see it on video, it's not going to be washed out at all. Streaming is just very limited to what you can show. Again, this game is very colorful, but we'll show another game that's like a little more darker. See if we can pick that up. Yeah, it is on brightness preferred right now. So Sir Holmes says PS5 calibration, see if it goes up to 4K nits. It doesn't. Um, so I already set it up in PS5 calibration, but I'll show you that again. One of the ways that you can set it up actually this year is as long as you're on a white screen, it will clip. It will hard clip. So as long as you're on a white screen, it'll hard clip. But if you're on a black screen and then you got a white square, it will do some sort of, I don't know I don't know if the TV's tone mapping or if it's just the local dimming affecting the pattern, not showing it clip. But when it is on a black background, which is why I think it is kind of local dimming related, then it won't hard clip. But you could turn off local dimming and then it'll hard clip. So that's why I think it is local dimming related. All right, let's continue this game. I just started a brand new game in this. But yeah, I guess if you want me to go to the settings, I can. It's gonna quit out the game, but let's do it. Let's check it out. So I have HDR right here. So it's gonna make me quit out the game, but I'll show you kind of how to set it up. Right now I have it on 21 clicks, is where I landed. But as you can see, if I go darker, you will start to see like the sun comes back. Oh, it's on brightness preferred. It's not gonna work on brightness preferred. So you do have to set it to gradation preferred. So once you set it to gradation preferred, though, you do got a hard clip. So source-based tone mapping does seem to work. But there is a caveat. You have to kind of be on a white screen. If you're on a black screen, it will not show it hard clipping. So you can see the sun comes here. And then here you just make it disappear. So if I go from the bottom, I turn this back here. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 is where we land. And then here, I just repeat the same 21. If I turn off local dimming, you will see it should disappear. As you can see, yeah, it disappears. So the local dimming does have an effect when you are in a black background, when you're trying to hard clip. So turn off your local dimming if you really do need to see it. Otherwise, just match your white screen with your black screen on that one. And you shouldn't have an issue. And then, of course, on your third screen, you want to keep this completely black. So it doesn't go up to 4,000 nits, though. And this TV probably caps out. I think people are measuring it at around 2,800. I've seen some at like 3,000, but that's about it. That's pretty bright. Oh, that's freaking bright. Like, let's give props to Sony because that's pretty bright. And it is really impressive brightness too. It's not like fake brightness, like I've seen with a lot of other places. Thank you for that super chat, though. No, go higher on the second one. If you go higher, you will clip the sun. Like, I've tried it. Like, so I tried it in Ghost of Tsushima. You will start to make that sun look more like a ball, like where it starts to be blown out. Like, you can see HDR elements get blown out if you will go higher than that. So you definitely want to just abide by the hard clip for the way that you set it up. And trust me, I've tested this in multiple games. Second screen, go higher. Usually want to match it. I'm not sure. You can go to auto too, and it's actually pretty close. The auto is pretty close to where I landed. but it will blow out the highlights just a little bit. How's the game look on screen right now? Hopefully good. It might be a little too dark, but again, that's just streaming. I swear everything I stream, man, it's either too dark or it loses just a little bit of color. I mean, I could plug in the Osmo and we can go clown mode if you want, but like that's the only other way I can think of getting it to look like super bright. This game is not meant to be like super bright. Like that's the thing. So yeah, you know, like it's crazy. This is a really good comment. Rise of the Ronin is one of those things that I think like man, this game is really fun. People knock the graphics on it a lot. I just love the art in this game though. It is so good. Um I think Ghost of Tsushima probably has better graphics overall though. Yeah, and it looks 10 times better. And you're right about that. Like and that just kind of goes back to like developers and how they are playing using these games. And I like the art in this game though. Like overall the aesthetic is awesome. But you're right, like there is some choppy looking graphics in this game. Super choppy. We could try out some Ghost of Tsushima too. I made a new profile, so we're starting from fresh on all the games that I have here. So, I actually never played this game though. I've only played it a little bit, but I've never actually started from scratch here. I've only played somebody's current game. So if I'm like slow on it, it's because I never played it. But I played what is that game? God, I forgot the game. The one Wo Long. Yeah, Wo Long. I played Wo Long. I absolutely love Wo Long, and people told me this is basically Wo Long. So I was like, all right, cool. Think I'm supposed to hit this. Yeah. Let's see. Let me look through Teamfight Tactics. Hey, that's a good question. I play Teamfight Tactics. I haven't tried Teamfight Tactics on this TV, but I would imagine it looks really good. I'm surprised somebody else plays Teamfight Tactics here. Yeah, I play a ton of Teamfight Tactics. Yeah, I haven't hooked it up to the PC yet. Try that out. I've really just had console hooked up to it, but I will hook up PC and I'll try those things out. How long do I have to do this? I just probably have to try out everything. Tell you playing games and reading chat is kind of hard, distracting. Since I'm not very far in this game, I actually don't think I'm gonna play it that long. So let's play a different game. Let's do Ghost of Tsushima. Because that game kind of plays itself, sort of, in a way. Dude, that is crazy. Game looks good though. It's a little bit blue on the stream. I don't know why. White balance is set for the TV. Let me see. Oh, it's the saturation is too high. That's my bad. Should be good now. Yeah, this new update does suck. I haven't played TFT consistently this whole entire set. I'm not a fan of the set. It's a little dark. Let me change the shutter. It's gonna like it's a balance with exposure. Like you show too much, you start to wash things out a little bit. Sir Holmes, thank you for the super chat. It says, I don't listen to PS5 on the first screen, just on the others. My OLED is 7 clicks, and 15 clicks and 2 clicks. The first screen is full screen brightness. So what I do is I just kind of set it accordingly. I usually match those two, and then I check if anything is clipping or anything is not like as bright as it should be. Because you can tell when an HDR element is either clipping or it's just it's not gonna show enough brightness. Like it's underexposed in like camera terms. Like you can kind of tell. So that's kind of what I go by. But I know people do it differently. 2 clicks on the second screen is interesting. I don't know. Or two clicks on the last screen would raise the black level, no? I guess if you're in a bright room on a LCD TV, then 2 clicks on the last screen could make sense. This game is beautiful, man. It's crazy how good this game looks. The highlights are very impressive. Yeah, they are. The B9 and A95L are equal. And they're different tastes, man. Like, I think it is really just hard to compare OLED and an LCD TV. There's gonna be a contrast difference no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter what you film it with, too. You see it. Like, you see it no matter what. Like, I've tried to film it with multiple cameras, and I could still see the contrast difference. So I think that'll be pretty noticeable in the G4 comparison. But I mean, don't take away from what the Bravia 9 is capable of. This TV is sick. Like, when I'm playing it, I'm not like, oh god, I miss OLED, you know? So there has been some LCDs in the past where it's like, what am I doing? But this one is pretty good. Like, I don't think about like missing OLED, because I think it's good enough. It's not perfect. It's just good enough. It's a good middle ground, you know? You are sacrificing some things to go with the Bravia 9, but There's some things you won't get with the OLED that you get with Bravia 9. When it comes down to brightness, and it depends on how you watch, right? And it depends on what you do ultimately, but yeah, I need to like call somebody over to play games for me while I look at chat, because this is gonna be very distracting if you just watch my character run around in circles sometimes and not fight. I'm trying. I'm trying. Hold on, let's drop the exposure. It's too bright. So I'm hearing pretty good things about the Bravia 7, and it's pretty good. Hearing pretty good things about it. Hearing it's pretty similar to the X95L, but you know, it doesn't have the viewing angle filter, which, you know, that might not make people happy if they're watching from an angle, but I'm not one to recommend mini LEDs from an angle anyway. So yeah, that part's tough. It's a dark game. Starting to look like really too dark right now. As we get into the bright areas here. A little bit brighter over here. Yeah, I mean, if you could like control your room, man, you are you're good. Good to go. To be honest with you, I'm not gonna game this whole entire stream. I'll probably throw on some demos, and answer some questions, because playing and typing at the same time is difficult. Or not typing, but like looking through chat is difficult. I might just like find gameplay videos on YouTube and play those. Like, honestly. Yeah, I don't think this TV could get to 1,000 nits full screen. Sir Holmes, and thank you for the super chat. But yeah, I'd be surprised if this TV could get to 1,000 nits full screen. Still waiting for measurements on that. So like, the way that I've always done the HDR screens is, if you match them, even on Xbox, that seems to be the most ideal situation. When I get into the way I could do camera mode and stuff, I'll show you what I mean by, like, if you set it too high, or if you set it too low. Because they all land around the same part. So like on the PlayStation 5, it lands around the same area as on the Xbox. And then when you're going into games that have dedicated HDR sliders, it lands about the same area on like Sea of Thieves, for example, in HDR. So I found the sweet spot to be about 2300 nits. I might have to like raise the exposure here. Well, that was weird. I've never felt my controller do that kind of vibration. This was weird. PlayStation 5 controller freaks me out sometimes. Yeah, I'm gonna ban this dude. He keeps coming back. So just don't engage. If you know this guy keeps coming back, don't even engage with them. We'll just keep banning him. Yeah, stop. Just don't engage with them. Don't engage with the trolls. People are like, oh, Bravia 9 sucks, OLED superior, OLED sucks, Bravia 9 superior. Just leave that stuff like somewhere else. Go somewhere else with that. He's trolling. He's doing it on purpose to get your emotions high. I'm gonna ban him every time he comes back. I'm just gonna let it sit on this screen for a second because that looks really good. Let me look through chat here. Okay. That's the sound from the controller again. You just bought Ghost of Tsushima for your 4090 and it's beautiful. Yeah, I was watching TKK play it on his PC. Looks like they did a really good job with it. All right, now I gotta adjust the camera again. There you go. No, I mean comparisons are good to make for sure. That's why I do them. TCL and Hisense will be threats. I don't see how Japanese and Koreans can compete against them if they keep prices low and up picture quality, especially at extra large 100-inch screens. Yeah, TCL and Hisense are becoming better and better each year. So it'll be interesting, like how far they take technology and stuff. But yeah, it's one of those things where they just got to get better with processing, and once they do that, then they can really start to compete. Because that's what it always comes back to with their TVs is processing just has to improve. It really does. Is this TV worth it? Um, I think it belongs in this category for sure. I don't know that it's not worth it. If you think the other TVs that are in this price bracket are worth it, I would say this could fit along the lines of that. It's just a different type of flavor, though. It's like it does everything really well, but nothing extremely amazing in terms of like handling things other than brightness and highlights. I think highlights on this TV highlights on this TV are crazy. Like that moon right now, it's probably even clipping on camera a little bit. It looks good, man. I'm gonna put it on auto exposure, but it might make the TV flicker a little bit. So I don't know. I'm kind of worried about that if I do that. We'll see. Magic Remote is nice and hard to lose. You know it's hard not God, you know what's not hard to lose? Which is sorry. You know what is hard to lose? The Sony remote. You can actually find the remote. It has a find my remote feature on it. So that's pretty cool. So if you ever lose your remote, you can find it on the Sony. I think the Magic Remote sucks. I'm just going to say it. The LG Magic Remote sucks. It needs to be replaced. I don't like it. LG needs to step it up. Like, Sony gives you a backlit remote. It has USB-C charging. LG gives you a battery-powered plastic trash remote with the pointer. You know what I mean? It's weak. I know that might sound harsh, but it's time. It's time to change it up, LG. Sick of you doing this with your remote. Yeah, nobody's a fan of Magic. Like there's a few fans of Magic remotes. Like I'm not saying there's not, right? Some people just absolutely love their Wii U pointers or their Wii pointers. The Nintendo Wii style controller. Yeah, it was cool at first, but now it's annoying. I agree. Yeah. It's like it was cool when it was invented and when they used to have a little bird on there that you could select. Like that was cool. Like, all right, there's a little novelty here. But now it's just silly. It's like I'm trying to show people something and then all of a sudden the pointer goes off. And it's like, all right. Now I have a pointer in my video. Really don't care about remotes? Do you use a universal remote? Gotta care somewhat about remotes, right? Like it's how you turn on your TV and adjust things. In cyberspace says, I just got the Bravia 9. I can get gaming super bright now with my new settings. 4K nits probably. Not 4K nits, but that's okay. And was worried at first because it's so dark. This TV is from outer space, so bright and colors are gorgeous. Yeah. When I first tried this TV out, I actually had the ambient mode turned on because I didn't know how to turn it off. So like, if you guys ever get this TV, let me teach you. You go to settings. Nope, not settings. Sorry. So you go to you press the settings button on your remote. Then you go to picture and sound. Then you want to scroll down to where it says ambient optimization. And this will be turned on by default. So this will most likely be turned on by default. You turn it off because otherwise it will auto adjust according to the ambient light. So you want to make sure that's turned off. And that's like the first night that I had it on for a little bit, and then I realized it during stream, like while I was streaming. And I was like, oops, my bad. But all my evaluations were made like with this off. So, like, all my real evaluations, like, that I had in the first impressions video. But it is worth noting. But yeah, like, we got, it's a cool TV. Like, there's no other way to say it. There's got to be a brighter game we could try, right? Like, I don't know, man. Let's see what this guy got. So I'm borrowing. I share the PlayStation 5. It's my nephew's. So see what he got. God of War. God of War's kind of dark. It's on auto exposure, so you see lines. Hold on. Like I said, I might just turn off the games. We might just do some demos. I know, like, that's like totally opposite of what the actual stream says, but I kind of just wanted to hang out and chill, talk to chat anyway. Let's get the God of War recap. Oh, never mind. It's like that kind of recap. I know, now I'm blind. Yeah, it's very bright. When it goes full screen white like that, my God. I was in the Spears and Munsell thing trying out the low dynamic range test, and then I immediately went to the high dynamic range test, and I was blind. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So, ooh, chopped his head off. This game was pretty fun to play through. I already beat it, so I haven't played it in so long. I'm waiting for the Elden Ring DLC. That's what I really want to play. Like, really want to play it, man. All right, I think I'm done with the games right now. We should just turn on some demos. I'm gonna have to change the name of the stream afterwards. We'll just, like, we started with gaming. We showed you a little bit. But let's do some demos. I'll use the a lot of people have been requesting that I just play the demos, so you got it. You got it. We'll go to Sony demos, I guess. Let's see. No, you know, let's just show the LG demos for now. We'll check out some Jennifer Gala stuff too. Make sure it's in professional mode. It is very bright. My God, too bright. My eyes. Turn on auto exposure. Hold up. Spears and Munsell is beyond played out. If you go away from gaming, what demo? I'm just gonna play demos. I'm just really trying to chat and answer some questions and stuff. I might actually play Jennifer Gala stuff because that's actually going to be pretty colorful, bright. Let's go that route instead. She makes awesome content too, and it gives me time to talk about her content because I think it's awesome demo content. Like if you ever want to showcase your TV, do that. So let's check out her stuff. Just gonna play all from her channel. HDR Super Channel, if you guys are wondering. I didn't mean to put this up. It's called the HDR Super Channel. Check it out. It's awesome. I don't think Spears and Munsell will ever get played out for me personally, but that's just, that's just opinion. Let me go down a little bit. One sec. Yeah, I'll definitely get a copyright strike if I played Godzilla -1. Dang, that looks good. All right, so I got the camera to look really good on stream. I don't know if you think that looks good, but it looks good to me. Yeah, pretty interesting. Finally got that one to work. I might have to drop the gamma a little bit. For some reason, like, stream raises gamma sometimes. It's, whoa, she's green. Yeah, she's definitely green. She's definitely green on the TV too. Yeah, the live streams, they definitely don't do the TV like justice. I would say the review videos, those are gonna do it way better justice. Like the hands-on first impressions video was pretty decent, but I think it was slightly out of focus. That's my bad. But the comparisons will be awesome. And then when I do a review video on this, it's gonna look really, really nice. I'm excited for what I could do with this camera. And then in cyberspace, thank you for the super chat. He says, my 75 Bravia 9 has no DSE. Wow, you got lucky. Mine definitely has DSE. But yeah, you got lucky. I don't really notice it too often in games, so that's good. But I would say, yeah, that's pretty lucky. He said, I get gaming super bright. Game HDR to 3. Black equalizer set to high. Wow. Black levels to 41. 4K nits. Those are some wild settings. That's crazy. I might have to try that out, see what they look like. That's cool. That's what I like about when people give me their TV settings. I'm so surprised. It's like, dang. People have some different tastes for sure. And there's never like a bad answer there. Like, because when you have the TV, you do what you want with it. And that's how I've always approached it too. Like, I always mess around with settings too. So, no doubt about it. The one dude was telling me he had reality creation cranked to 100. I'm like, okay, I would never go that far, but I could see why they like it. Like, yeah, for sure. Do I experience lag when gaming? So if I gaming lag wouldn't really be related to the TV. If you're talking about like the actual milliseconds, the input lag, that's not noticeable at all. There's not really a noticeable difference there. So as long as you're in game mode, of course, you should be good with your input lag. So you shouldn't experience any lag at all with the Bravia 9 as far as that goes. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's awesome, Cyberspace. I'm glad you like the Bravia 9. A lot of people seem to love it, and a lot of people have also twisted my words against me and said like I hate the TV. All I did was criticize game mode a little bit. That's it. So I don't think, yeah. Thank you for the alert on that. Yeah, so again, I'm gonna just ban all the trolls. Do not interact with them. If you think they're trolling, tell me to ban them. I will. Because we don't need these toxic trolls in here, man. Just trying to have a good time, answer questions, help people out. It's unfortunate that like this TV is bringing out a lot of toxicity because I don't know why. Like I've never reviewed an OLED TV or really any TV. It doesn't even have to be an OLED TV. I reviewed the QN90 and the 900D, and like I showcased those TVs. And last year I showed off all kinds of Samsung mini LED TVs, and I showed off the Hisense and stuff. And it's like I don't get toxic trolls, but for some reason this TV brought out a lot of trolls. It's weird. Like I don't know what's going on. And there's nothing wrong with arguing with people as long as you keep it civil. Like have your arguments and disagreements, but the moment you're just like really toxic, I'm getting you out of here. And Buddy Love, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Hope you and everyone are well today." Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Buddy Love. I hope you're doing good. It's nice to see you in chat. I haven't seen you in a bit, so hopefully all is well. And thank you for the support. You know, we just crossed 35,000 subscribers, which is awesome, and I want to thank you guys again for that. I made a post about it, but I think it might have gotten buried. But man, yeah, like I've never thought we were going to get to this level. That's awesome. Mad Pistol, thank you for the super chat. Says, same Bravia 9 has 0 DSE on the hockey test. Wow. So it looks like the 75-inch might have a better uniformity chance than the 65-inch from the small sample size that we got. So that's cool. I'm glad you got 0 DSE. I think some of the worst things that you can get is like a really bad panel uniformity on a large TV, because then you're like, oh man, now I gotta take it back. And he says, wonder if the 85-inch size will be just as good. As of now, the 75-inch model is a home run. Do you plan on keeping the 75-inch, or are you thinking about going for 85-inch? Because I know some people are like undecided. They might want to go for the bigger size. I heard the 85-inch, will definitely have the best panel, but I wouldn't stress over that. Like if you like the 75 and you like everything about it, man, don't even roll the dice. Just keep the 75 and enjoy it. Let me make sure that we are still on the HDR Super Channel. Yeah, not that I'm playing somebody's content that I didn't get permission from. Thankfully, Jennifer says, go ahead and play it. And I say thank you to her every time. Again, she has amazing content. Check her out. But yeah, Mad Pistol, I would just enjoy that, man. I wouldn't even stress about it. So I'm glad you got it. I know you were on the fence about it, and you seem like you really wanted it. So I'm always a proponent. Like, if you really want something, you go get it and try it out and see if it's for you. And if you like it, meets your expectations, man. That's awesome. That's why I said, like, forget what everybody says. Like, if you like the TV, forget about everybody else's opinions. And Lisa, thank you for the congratulations. Yeah, 35,000 is awesome to get to that point. But we're not done. I'm not satisfied with that number. But I do recognize that is a very thing that I couldn't do without all of you. So, again, I'm very thankful. Let's see. Are you gonna keep it long enough to be able to do a few comparisons? I don't know what else I would need to compare it to yet. I do kind of want to get the QM8. The U8N is one of those ones where I'm kind of waiting for. We'll see. It's possible. If I don't, I'll definitely make sure we get some really good footage of it. And since I can record in RAW now, that's helpful. So, but like as far as like live stream comparisons, it's gonna be a little bit of a tough ask for later on TVs that we get. I'm really on the fence. Like, I'm debating on if I should buy the 85-inch for myself, because I've been wanting an 85-inch TV for a while. I've also got this kind of interesting idea of using it as a backdrop somewhat. So like it would be like a twofold kind of thing. But yeah, I think probably a 985-inch would be insane. This TV is bright. Just looking at this screen right here, I look up at it and I'm just amazed at the brightness still. So Christian, thank you for the super chat. He says, I bought a QN90C on Memorial Day for $2,300. I love the B9. It looks gorgeous, but that price, yeah, that's a good point. The price is ridiculous. For what it is, like, I think the price on the G4 is ridiculous too. So like, let's put this into perspective. I think premium TVs right now are just like really hard to convince me to buy. Like, even with discounts, right? Like, even if there's like little discounts here and there, I still think it's very expensive. So it's like, yeah, I see it. I see that reasoning. And if you're talking about the QN90C, you must mean the 85-inch, right? For $2,300. That's a really good deal. And the QN90C is kind of like the last of a really good ADS panel for what Samsung was using. I think that ADS panel is sick. Like, the QN90C has a really good panel. I like it a lot. So I think that's a smart choice, Christian. And that's awesome, man. But yeah, you're right. You can pay the difference and get a QD OLED for the bedroom. So you can get 2 TVs for the price of one. Like, it's a really good point. Hard to argue that. And Matt says, that's why I went with the 77-inch S90C for $1,700. Yeah. And like the 77-inch S90C is like $2,000 right now. It's hard to imagine it's going to go back down to that $1,700 mark anytime soon, but we're going to keep an eye out on it. But like, yeah, you got a steal on that 77-inch. That's why I was telling everybody, like, S89C 77-inch, probably the best deal you're gonna get for a very long time. God, this is some good looking footage. I hope it looks as good on stream as it does like right in front of me on my camera display and on what I'm seeing apparently is being shown to the stream. The dynamic range of this camera is just like sick. I love this camera. Yep. Good point, High Def. And what's up, High Def? I didn't even see you were in the chat. But he says, when done well, ADS Pro panels are awesome. I wish Sony would have put one in the Bravia 7. Yeah, I don't even know if Sony uses the panels at all on any of their TVs, do they? I'm really excited about like the advancements, like what TCL has some ADS competitor coming out, I believe. So like LCD space is gonna get more and more competitive for sure. It looks good for a live stream. Awesome. Yeah, I know like there's limitations there, right? Text probably looks clearer than the screen. Yeah, that's kind of what I was alluding to, the WHVA panels from CSOT. The wide angle filter is definitely kind of like a gift and a curse for some people off angle, right? Like off angle, it's gonna help a lot, like hold the contrast and color. But like if they had something like what you're saying, they wouldn't need that. And my goodness, the reflections on the panel, they're gonna cause problems for people with like bulb lights above them, and yeah, it's always been a problem. Little rainbow reflections. So that's a really good point. Let me double check, make sure I got everybody's questions answered. Okay, yeah, we got that. What's the next TV to come out this year? Is there any more TVs coming out you guys are excited for? I think everything's released, right? Like, I'm trying to think, is there anything else that's not out yet? And don't you say Vizio. The Bravia 10. Wait, was I supposed to say that? Just kidding. Q90B is good, yeah. Galvatron, you probably good for a while as far as upgrading your TV. 100-inch LCD would be pretty immersive. It'd be a big jump from 75 too. Probably 11. What do you expect for the summer update for Sony? Sony's summer update seems big for the A95 though. I expected, to pretty much add a lot of the features that got shipped to 2024 TVs is what I've heard. So like voice zoom 3 and stuff like that should be coming to A95L. Now I could be wrong on that, but that's what I believe is true. I'll get clarification on that. Voice zoom 3, by the way, that's pretty awesome. Voice zoom is pretty awesome. Yeah, Jennifer Gala's demos on the Bravia 9 are insane. Yeah, absolutely, they are. There's no doubt about that. Oh, they'll look really good on the A95K. It's a very capable TV. I really haven't seen these demos look bad on any TV, to be honest with you. So is it the OLED killer? No. But it wasn't designed to be an OLED killer. That's the thing that I think a lot of people might have gotten a little bit of a disconnect there. It's not designed to be an OLED killer. It's designed to be an alternative choice. Like, it does things, has pros and cons, right? Like, so does OLED. OLED has pros and cons. So you just got to find which ones make more sense for your situation. Let's say you are somebody who watches, again, I go back to this, nothing but SDR, right? And you just watch a lot of broadcast, you watch a lot of sports. Maybe you even are one of those persons that has like a channel up all the time, like with a logo on it. There is a big case for you to never go OLED, because your use case just points you more towards something like the Bravia 9. If you're somebody who's like an enthusiast, watches nothing but movies, you want like the creator's intent all the time, you care deeply about contrast, well, then you're going to want to go OLED. Like, there's just no doubt about it. If you're more in the reference mindset, you're going to want to go OLED. Yeah, I want you guys to think, I'm going to say this again. You're going to hear it again in a comparison. So spoiler alert on that. But like I've said this in the past, I'll say it again. I think that TVs need to be looked at as like ice cream flavors. Because ultimately, like, it really is going to boil down to what you like. So you just got to pick what you like. Yeah, you can't pick what other people like. Just think about that. If you went with that same approach with the flavors of ice cream, if somebody likes pistachio and you don't like pistachio, then why are you watching reviews on pistachio? You know what I mean? It's like you gotta find the right selection for you, what you enjoy. That's the way that I pick technology and stuff for my personal usage. I always find like what fits me the best. What do I do? I don't think OLED should be a little nervous. They got nothing to worry about. Because they all have their strengths, man. That's the thing. It's like, you're not going to replace OLED with a Bravia 9. Some of you might, and it's just more so because your use case like suggests that it's a good fit for you. For a monitor, like a computer monitor, I wouldn't touch mini LED. From what I've seen from mini LED on PC monitors, it hasn't been pretty. None of them seem to have really great local dimming control. So like for monitors, I would absolutely try to stick to OLED. I know that the fear of burn-in is there, but yeah, man, it is tough. Is this just gonna pause on the glass? What is going on? Oh, okay. Like that just sat there for a second. It was kind of tripping me out. I don't know. I have no idea what happened just now. But yeah, like mini LED probably not the best thing for a monitor. How far away is the C4 from S90C brightness with dynamic tone mapping on? It's a really good question. Like C4 is not too far off from like hitting that kind of brightness levels. The biggest thing though is going to be like, yes, you have that color drop off, especially in game mode. And then you also have color banding. That is bright, my god. Then you have color banding. It just went from a dark scene to a bright scene. It threw me off so hard. Yeah, color banding on the C4 is one of those things where I do want to caution people. You will see that in game mode. Man, this looks good. What the heck? Camera is outdoing itself right now. BT 2020 coverage versus QD OLED, lower, equal, higher, lower. If you're talking about the Bravia 9, it's lower. I believe it will be higher than the G4 though. But if you're talking QD OLED, that's where you go for color brightness. The bear or the picture? There's a bear? I miss a bear? Oh, the beer. Okay, I got you. You threw me off. I was like, man, you got me. I don't know if I missed this bear, but okay, I get you beer. Yeah, that makes sense. I get chat late too. Like I get your messages probably later than what you guys are seeing in chat too. So it's a little bit of a delay. Why is the display model in the excellent category? That would be just a really bad mess up by the employee. Holy moly. Like, if that happens, definitely report them. That should never happen. Display models should never be marked as excellent. Have you seen this happen? Because that's terrible. If you guys aren't familiar what he's talking about open box. I'm guessing Best Buy might have had a display model marked in the excellent category. Is that what you're saying? Or are you asking? No, I know you said why is a display model in the excellent category. So that must mean that you've seen one there that was a display model but marked excellent. That's terrible. Yeah, I would definitely report that store. That's not what they're supposed to do. I'm thirsty. I'm definitely not thirsty. There's different definitions of thirsty. But I'm currently not one of them. I have water right in front of me. I do want ice cream though. People keep posting ice cream emojis. Makes me want to get some ice cream. We're still on Jennifer Gala content, right? Yeah. John says today at Best Buy they had an open box excellent S90C. The employee said it was a display model. That's terrible. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. There's no way there's no way a display model should be marked excellent. Like, there's no way. My Best Buy was selling its display models. The sales rep literally told me not to buy them. Yeah, definitely be careful then, I guess. It sounds like that might be more widespread than I'm originally hoping. Never buy a used OLED. I think there's cases where you can, like, if you're going to the store buying an S90D or a S95D right now, you're fine. You're safe. Like, you don't have to worry about anything. Maybe the screen uniformity that's why they take it back, but like that's usually not the reason why it's taken back. So you would probably be good. But yeah, last year's models are definitely iffy to buy right now. From the sound of it. Yeah, display models are they're cooked, man. They're not worth it. Don't even bother with the display models. Not even LCDs, man. Do not even bother with display models. You don't want a TV that's been running all day, 365. You don't want that. Yeah, see something like this, he said, Patrick says, I got a 890L 55-inch, excellent condition, open box, only 2 hours on it, build date April 2024 for only $900. Like, that's a really good deal. That's probably just buyer's remorse return right there from somebody. At mine, they're marked as fair. Yeah, that's what they're supposed to be marked as. That's wild. If you see one marked as excellent. I used to buy open box all the time, but that's pretty crazy. Yeah, if there are models that were used, it's very noticeable. There's no A90L. There's a A95L. I think he meant WOLED. He just typed it wrong. I wouldn't buy a WOLED, but that's just a cutie OLED fanboy and me talking. Hey, well, at least you're honest about it, right? I think WOLED with enhancements like MLA, those are more like easier to convince me to buy, but like a C4, for example, like I think it's a great TV and it can get close to matching the S90D in brightness. But like game mode, get out of here. Game mode on the C4 compared to the S90D is not even close. So I see that line of thinking. I haven't seen the Bravia 8 yet to really comment on it, But so I'm not gonna say like the Bravia 8 is anything yet because I haven't seen it yet. So, but typically, yeah, would definitely go QD OLED over WOLED, especially if we're talking about no MLA. There's just too many advantages, right? You got brightness, you got color brightness, you got uniformity. So those are 3 big categories too. That's a good question. Should I buy the G3 or C4 in a 55-inch? You should absolutely just buy the G3. G3 is far and away a better TV than the C4. It's a more capable TV than the C4. So yeah, this is not close. I get asked this question a lot, but get the G3 in that situation. CJ says, I have my mind on a B8, so the Bravia 8, and could save and get the A80L, but pay a little more and get the Bravia 9 in a 65-inch. So you were thinking about a 77-inch, or are you thinking about a 65-inch? Or are you thinking about the 50? Like, no, because the Bravia 9 is more expensive than the Bravia 8, so it was probably the 77-inch you're thinking about getting for the A80L, right? I think that they'll probably be really comparable. Like the A80L and the Bravia 8, there's probably not going to be a huge gap there. So if you're buying right now and you're not waiting till like Black Friday, absolutely just go get the A80L. Because that's going to be almost the same type of experience, but at a cheaper price tag. Now, like I said, the Bravia 8 could be a little bit brighter, but I doubt that brightness difference makes up the price difference right away, like at launch, right? But if you're buying at like Black Friday, then the Bravia 8 becomes more of a discussion point, I think. But at this current moment in time, I think that I would buy an A80L over a Bravia 8 if I'm telling somebody like recommendation wise. And it just got another super chat pop up here from Christian. Thank you for the super chat. It says, yeah, the QN90C is 85-inch. I went into Best Buy to buy the 77-inch S90C, and I was checking out. I saw the QN90C in the corner, spent an hour comparing size 1. That's a really good example of size versus like what you deem maybe overall TV quality. I don't blame you for this one. It's kind of like what I was thinking about with the whole 77-inch OLED versus an 85-inch LCD discussion. Yeah, I don't blame you. Like, if I had the space for it, I'd probably make the same decision. So, I don't blame you for that at all. It's one of the reasons why I'm looking at the 85-inch Bravia 9 is because the 83-inch G3 or G4 right now that's quite pricier than the Bravia 9 85-inch. And it's like value, you got to think about value, right? And then for your case, size versus value, and size is going to win in that sense. So, yeah, I don't blame you. That's 90C was probably a little bit cheaper, but 85-inch, you're not going to get that with the QD OLED, so it makes sense. I'm glad you're enjoying it, though. I know a lot of people love their QN90C, so. And I actually like the QN90C better than the QN90D personally. So if anybody's asking, like, get the QN90C or the QN90D, I would absolutely get the QN90C. But thank you for the super chat, Christian. Congrats on that TV. It's awesome. Does the Bravia 9 have any 3D pop? So if you're talking about like picture depth, it certainly does have picture depth. You can help that a little bit more too, even if you like use reality creation, adds a little bit more of that feeling to it. So yeah, it definitely has good picture depth. It has brightness that will give you that picture depth even more. So compared to a G4 though, it doesn't match the G4 with picture depth in mind. And this is one of the things I did point out in my comparison video that will be out hopefully tomorrow morning. But picture depth is kind of the thing where the G4 stuck out even amongst OLEDs, right? Like it has that three-dimensionality that you're not going to get from any other TV this year to the same degree. But I would say it has good picture depth overall. I think the three-dimensionality though, when it's next to say the G4 for example, one of the reasons why the G4 sticks out even more over the Bravia 9 is just because of that contrast difference. And when you're talking about picture depth, you got to think about self-emissive displays. They're always going to have a little bit more depth to it. On its own, though, it is good. Especially if you use reality creation. I've never seen this demo. It's kind of cool. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I still don't understand that concept of 3D pop. I think it's just a way that somebody words like that three-dimensionality feeling, right? That picture depth. And I think it's just all about how you perceive the image. Like the G4 certainly has it. Like you guys seen my comparisons. You guys probably watched other videos from other people with the G4 involved. Like the G4 has that. So it is something that is under research and development by these TV companies quite a bit, right? They are looking for ways to make the background get separated from the main subject. They're looking at these things like so. They're putting a lot of work into making that effect like a thing, but it's more so just a descriptive term. I personally wouldn't say anything has 3D pop, but picture depth is where I would go with that term more so. Just how deep does it look, right? How much depth does the picture have? Vignetting, it might just be the demo. It might be the camera. Let's see. Oh. It might just be the demo. There's not really any noticeable vignetting in person. It's more so on the stream. How was the gaming performance? I'm sorry you missed that. It's good overall. I think that gaming is good for what it is. Again, like if you compare it to other TVs, there's a different discussion to be had. But on its own, like, is it a good gaming TV? Can you get away with gaming on it? Does it give you a presentable image? Are you happy with the HDR? Oh god, I just hit the desk. But like, yes, I'm happy with the HDR out of it. There is some backlight issues, of course, like I've talked about in the past. That is definitely one of those pain points for an LCD TV. It's not exclusive to the Bravia 9. It's just LCDs in general have a little bit of a slow backlight, especially with transitions. You'll notice it. I mean, you just move your camera and something steady like a flame all of a sudden gets blurred out and dimmed, right? Like, that's not going to be like that on something that's self-emissive. So that was kind of my point with the whole thing is like, yeah, it's not a magic bullet. Like, it still does have the same quirks that you have with any other LCD. And it wasn't meant to be a huge knock on the Bravia 9. It was just meant to be like, this is not going to all of a sudden solve those issues. And so maybe I should have worded that a little bit better because I think people took it the wrong way. I wasn't trying to be overly critical in that sense. But I think the gaming is going to be good for a lot of people in this. It's a good question. I like questions like this because they seem to help people really fast. At which price point would you prefer the 77-inch C4 over the 77-inch S90C? I mean, I think that the C4 would have to be at least $300 cheaper than the S90C. And again, this is going to be a decision that you'll have to make. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't buy a WOLED over a QD OLED unless it has MLA. Like, there's no question about it. Especially with the C4's downgrade that you get in game mode. Like, I cannot deal with that personally. So, I personally wouldn't consider the C4 over the S90C in any capacity. Unless you get it on this super deep discount where it's like, all right, I can get that. It's a no-brainer purchase. Then I can see it, right? But for the most part, no. You're just going to get a better experience overall from the S90C. My personal opinion, though. What's up, EP? Late to the party. Better late than never. If you see a little bit of lines on the screen, that's just the camera. When you have it a little too sharp, sometimes you see a little bit of lines on the screen. It's not as bad as what it used to be, though. Whoa. I'm telling you. I had some crazy moire on my old camera. What I don't get is the Z90 had the same backlight performance in gaming mode. So it's not even about like outside of game mode, in game mode. It's just the backlight in general. A backlit TV doesn't perform well with games. It's just not. Like, cameras aren't going to move as fast in movies as they do in games. Like, your character is going to be outpacing the backlight most of the time if you're moving fast. So that's why you'll see light trails, things like that in game mode. I have not seen an LCD nail that ever. And it is worse on some, right? It is worse on some. Some have it worse than others. Bravia 9 is kind of just like about what I see from LCDs on average. As far as like the backlight speed. What's the best TV for game mode and how does this TV compare to it? I would say the best TV for game mode right now is either the S95D or the LG G4. And again, when we compare those TVs to the Bravia 9, it's just a whole different type of experience, right? Like, it all depends on what you like, and it's going to boil down to that. Because in a science, like if you just look at it as science, you're not going to match the contrast. So if contrast is something that you admire, you are going to not want to get the Bravia 9. Now, full screen brightness, just big highlights overall is what you admire, and you're okay with giving up a little bit of contrast, then the Bravia 9 will give you that more so than any other TV. If you're talking about response time and playing first-person shooters, competitive gaming, an OLED is going to give you that way better than any LCD. So it really boils down to what you admire from game mode, what you need personally from game mode. There's not just a blanket answer of which one is better than which for game mode. I hope that kind of makes sense, because everybody's idea of what a good game mode is different. Like some people prioritize their response time more so than others. Some people prioritize highlights and just bright scenes in general more than others. And like we've seen it just for example here with earlier, let me see, in cyberspace, right? He had his game equalizer set to high and black levels were at 41. Like that was his personal preference, and everybody's going to have a different personal preference when it comes down to how they set up their TV. So they have to factor that into their TV buying decision, because not everybody's going to be the same in that degree. So that's why I really hate answering questions that might sound like blanket statements, unless it's technology related, right? Like when somebody's like, hey, should I get a C4 or an S90D? I think that's more so just a technology question. It's like, all right, you're going to have better brightness. You're going to have better color brightness. You're going to have the overall better game mode. So that's why I don't ever really consider the C4. It's more so tied to just like the flaws. But when it comes down to the best TV for game mode, for me personally, it's either the G4 or the S95D. And then that's going to boil down to what you need out of the TV. If you like Game Motion Plus and need Game Motion Plus, S95D for sure. If you don't really need Game Motion Plus, you can start to make a case for the G4. But again, there's posterization. Like you're going to see color banding, which is the same thing. But it's like, that is something that you have to understand. You will not get the cleanest image with that in mind, but it does still have picture depth in game mode, so it still very much has that, and it still does keep brightness very well, and it holds color very well, unlike the C4. Like the C4 doesn't hold color, the G4 does. And Cypher says, I appreciate all tech. I can live happily with any of these sets. I just go for what's best for what I do. Cypher, really great super chat, and thank you for the support. It's exactly what I was talking about, right? Like, it really depends on your use case, more so than anything. Like, how do you use TVs? And that's what matters. And I think people lose sight of that. And they get stuck in this technology war. A lot of people might want an OLED TV, and then they end up wanting to crank up the brightness, and they're just like dissatisfied with the brightness for whatever reason in full screen brightness, because there's a certain limitation that you can hit. Same thing goes like with an LCD TV. People talk about they want the really bright TV, but then I know there's people that buy LCD TVs and then drop the brightness down significantly, even in HDR. So don't buy a TV because somebody's telling you it's better. Do your research. Take all those opinions with a grain of salt. They help, right? But use them as tools more so than decision-making factors. Like, use every review as a tool. And also understand that everybody that is showing you these things on camera, they all have different cameras. They all capture differently. Like what you're seeing on camera right now, this is pretty close to what I'm seeing in real life. If you look at a lot of different cameras that are on YouTube, no matter what, right? And I'm not throwing any creator under the bus at all. I'm just saying that, like, you cannot judge TVs based on what they're filmed on. If I whip out my Osmo right now, and show you like what that looks like, it's gonna look crazy. Um, you know, so you know, it really just depends on what is being shown. But yeah, it's like you pick the one for your best. I go on these rants. I'm sorry. But yeah, Cypher, spot on. Grain of salt with KG. Yeah, I mean, like, for real, like, definitely take what you see with a very small grain of salt. See, like, you can see the dirt on that car, right? With my camera, there's cameras out there where that dirt does not show up. The dynamic range is completely blown out. There is just nothing but a black car there. Like, there's differences. So you can't just go off of one footage or the other. You can't go off of footage, period. Right? Even my footage, it's brighter on my camera than it is what you're seeing here. It might look a little bit dimmer than what I'm actually seeing. Bravia 9 is bright. So if you're like, oh, dang, it looks really dim. The Bravia 9 looks really dim. No, it doesn't. It's just the stream. It's just the camera. It's just the footage that's being provided. If you say the Bravia 9 looks really bright in this other guy's video, that's more so just because the camera is making it look even brighter than it actually is, right? There's dynamic range is something that is so important when it comes down to TVs, when it comes down to filming in general. It doesn't matter if you're filming TVs, it doesn't matter if you're filming people. Like, dynamic range is what we're striving for. That's what we're going for with HDR, right? Like, right now, the sky's blown out on stream, but it's not blown out on my camera. I don't know why. It's just the way that it is translated, right? Like, on YouTube, for some reason, the gamma shifts on YouTube, no matter what. Even with YouTube uploads, the gamma shifts somewhat. Not the Osmo. I like the Osmo. It's fun. The propaganda is real? What propaganda? What do you mean by that? How hot does the screen get to touch? I don't know. I've never touched the screen when it was hot. Probably not that hot. I'll give it a shot. All right, let me go touch it real quick. Hold on. All right, that wasn't that hot. It's not hot. You know what would be hot is the G4. Now that TV was pretty hot. That TV was pretty hot. It emits heat though, right? Like, the back of the TV is probably hotter. The screen itself is not hot. Just people getting excited about tech. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as people keep it civil, it's cool. Like I said, I don't mind arguments and I don't mind debates. But the moment people get toxic, that's when we got to do something about it. Luckily, that doesn't happen that often. And if it does, it's usually one dude, one troll, right? It's always one person got to mess up the fun for everybody. Not as hot as plasmas, though. Yeah, plasma's ridiculous. Good point on that. S95D gets mega hot and loses brightness because of it. Yeah, that's not true. I never had the S95D thermal throttle once on me. So yeah, no, that's not true. That's just a pattern thing. That's a pattern generation thing. That has nothing to do with the S95D. All TVs protect themselves that are organic, that are going to display a pattern for a very long time. There's some toxic people on AVS forums, but it's more so just a general few people, just a few people, right? And it's always one or two that ruin your fun. That's just how it goes. Public forums are like that. There's some really good people on AVS though. I'll say it again. Oh goodness. Just ran into the microphone. Sorry if that was loud. We still on some HDR Super Channel? Man, this is some good stuff on here. You guys should check it out. That's just a pattern. Trust me. S95D is good. It's fine. It does not thermal throttle. I'm not the only one that's tested this either. Does not happen in real content. I don't know what the future of like Samsung's OLEDs look like as far as like what screen coating they'll use. I would imagine, like, based on a lot of the responses that we've seen this year, they'll probably drop it next year. I don't see it coming back personally, which is gonna suck because like I think there's some people that do like it, but for those people, I think the S95D could hang around. I would imagine they drop it. As far as the blackouts thing, I haven't heard any complaints here. So far so good. I know from when I tested it, I had 0 blackouts. And comment section has been pretty clear of people saying that it has blackouts. And usually, if there is, I'd hear about it by now. Now, I might have missed it somewhere. If I did, please let me know. But for the most part, it seems like the S95D has no issues there with that. How's the sound coming from the B9? It's amazing, man. Honestly, it sounds like you have a soundbar hooked up to the TV. Like, it is that good. Like, it is ridiculously good. So it has these beaming they have what they call beam tweeters, and they're up-firing tweeters. Wow, they just fill the whole entire room with sound. It's pretty amazing, man. And like, if you are somebody who has a hard time with dialogue, for example, that plus voice zoom, like voice zoom with dialogue, is insane. But even better, like with like the combination of what's offered with the Bravia 9 sound. Fantastic TV speakers, like amazing. I gotta raise the exposure a little bit here. Can't really see this planet. Yeah, it's fantastic. I can't say enough good things about those speakers. You know, like one sad thing is like when I'm comparing the G4 to the Bravia 9, like that's something that sticks out. Speakers. It's like the G4 speakers compared to the Bravia 9 aren't even close. G4 has some terrible speakers. Terrible, but like they're okay at times. And that's not a good thing to say about TV speakers. Like definitely want to get a sound bar with the at least a sound bar with the G4. With the Bravia 9, I think a lot of people be good with just TV speakers. I haven't had any lip sync issues personally. I've seen that in the chat. Comparable to a mid-range soundbar. Yeah, maybe. I think like you definitely would want a little bit more out of your bass, probably, I would say. Because there's no like dedicated subwoofer, right? Most mid-range soundbars have a dedicated subwoofer that comes with it. But if we're talking about like little standalone bars, like say like the Beam, let's just use the Sonos Beam for example. Yeah, it sounds like that kind of, you know. Who has the better processor between TCL, Hisense, or Samsung? It's Samsung. It's not even close. TCL and Hisense have a ways to go to catch up to the big three. KG, is the true C4 True Motion better or worse compared to the S90C motion interpolation in terms of artifacts? Both of them seems fine for that. Like, I do some tests with artifacts and make sure there's like not anything really egregious in that sense, and I don't think too many complaints were had when I had that test done. So yeah, overall motion artifacts not something that I noticed a ton of with motion interpolation in mind. There are some, but it's not like egregious. I've seen some really bad examples, you know, in the past. But it really depends too. Like I tested it in the settings that I use personally, but I know other people will have different settings. And when you have different settings for motion interpolation, that could even increase artifacts. So that's a hard question. Also, if you see motion tests done on like YouTube, please just ignore them. They don't really work. So I haven't seen the QM8 yet, so I can't comment on that part. But from what I've seen in the past, and from what I know, I don't think they've really changed much with the processor. But we'll see. You know, maybe they did something that they didn't talk about at CES. And processing is like such a hard term because what do you mean by that? Like when you say processing, like what are we talking about with processing involved? There's so many different factors that can like feed into that, right? Processing can mean so much. When people talk about processing, like with Sony, it's like, dang, now it's like blown out. When you talk about processing, like with Sony, a lot of people talk about some of the settings that are built in, like reality creation and stuff. That's not really processing. That's more so just like enhancements and settings. So depends on what you consider processing. If you talk about like gradient handling, like what are you talking about when you're talking about processing? All right. So I'm gonna answer a few more questions. Let's see. 15 minutes or so. We'll go. Yeah, like processing could mean anything, and that's a hard thing to answer when people are asking me about processing. Could mean anything. Motion handling, yeah. See, look, it could mean motion handling. Why do people say Samsung doesn't have 3D pop? I don't know why they say that. I don't really like the term 3D pop personally, but that's just I understand it, right? Like we talked about this a little bit earlier. I don't know if you were here for that, but it's more so picture depth, right? Clarity is also involved with that. I think Samsung's biggest problem is that they kind of have their gradation preferred always on, right? It's always on. So there's no way to really control that. And I think it does scrub away at times. It scrubs away some fine details. And that's just like one of the downsides to having such good gradients. If you're going to clean up the gradients naturally by using a technique like that, let's say, just for example, go ahead and turn on gradation preferred to like high or medium even, you'll notice some fine details getting scrubbed away. When it comes down to Samsung, there's no gradation preferred setting. It just seems to be always kind of on, and it seems to be sort of aggressive at times because there are times where fine details can get scrubbed away. And I wonder if that's just a downside. Like I said, I have no confirmation on that. It's more so just like a theory. But it is odd because at times Samsung does really have some great picture clarity, and at other times it seems like it's blurring a little bit. And I don't know why they don't just have a gradation preferred option, right? Like everybody else. KG, you are the man. Thank you for your support. No, thank you for your support. I appreciate you saying I'm the man. And even coming through the streams, typing in chat, that's support right there. Viewing the stream, that's support right there. So thank you. It almost looks like this is a still image the whole time, but it is slowly moving. Just making sure we're still on Jennifer's content. Yep. Hammer Joe says, is it fair to say that day-to-day usage for any of this year's models will be great? Yeah, I think so. If we're talking about all the brands out there, oh, even Hisense and TCL, we throw them in there, right? Like, I love the U7N from what I saw from it. User interface is good. Like, it uses Google OS. So there's, like, quirks there. Some things I don't like about Google OS, but a lot of people love Google OS. So, yeah, I think ultimately you can say that every TV that is past a certain margin is definitely good for day-to-day use. I think you could even go from like past the $600 range. You could find TVs that are good for everyday usage. So you start to get into like sub $400, then we're talking about like maybe you're wanting to upgrade your TV like in a year or two territory. But I think once we start to creep over and get into things like full array local dimming, mini LED, OLED, that's really perfect for everyday usage. And it's hard to want to upgrade after you get that kind of technology. Unless you're somebody who wants cutting edge, right? Then you're always going to be striving for like the next new thing. Some of us are always wired that way. I know I am. But there's a lot of people that all they need is really the U7N or the QM7. Like, all they need is something like that, and it's good enough. This is dark. Hold on. Let's put on something that's not this dark. It looks like a black screen because they're showing stars. Let's not. Let's go to her other channel real quick because hold on, I got some Bronco stuff on there. I'm a big Bronco fan. It's what I do. I was listening to some music on there too. Let's see what we got. I can't find her other channel right now. That's fine. Let's play some Sony demos. You don't hear my voice? Ooh, did I mute myself? What happened? I might not have been talking at the time. Where's KG? I don't hear him. Uh-oh. Something happened? You lose me? Okay, it's just Lisa. Technical difficulties. Hey, it happens to us all. What's your personal price limit if you buy any TV? Personally, oh goodness. I don't know. This is a really good question. I think right now, like, for me personally, it is kind of a hard sell, like, to buy something like a G4 83-inch, right? Like, I'm just like, I can't do it. Nope, can't do it. It's not that I can't do it. It's more so like I just do not see the purpose in it, like, value-wise. It doesn't feel like a good value to me. Same thing goes with, like, the Bravia 9 85-inch. Currently, at this price tag, I can't do it. I like the sweet spot there, like 77-inch S90C. I think that's something like where it's like, okay, yeah, I could definitely convince myself that's a really good deal. So I'm kind of like a victim of the whole value standpoint. That's why I talk about value a lot. I believe in it. I think that there's definitely a lot of cases to be made for like what's the best value, and that discussion is very valuable. No pun intended, but I do think that some of these TVs feel overpriced. Not that they are, right? I'm not saying they are, like, because something you just is worth as much as you'd want to pay for it ultimately, right? From a value standpoint, I think the premium models are a bit. It's a tough ask for me personally. So like I get it big time. That's why I champion something like the S90C 77-inch. That's a good example of like a good sweet spot for value. A lot of people talk about Sony tax, you know? It's not just Sony tax. It's everybody's tax. Like, everybody has really expensive TVs that have no business being that price at launch. So I think that Sony's somewhat treated unfairly in that regard. Like, there's more than just Sony tax. There's LG tax. There's Samsung tax. You know? Like, we talk about the QN900D. We talk about 8K tax. We want to talk about crazy tax. That 8K tax is stupid. Doesn't, you know? As I show a Samsung demo. But it's like, Samsung has really good value TVs, like the S90C. Again, I go back to that. Like, and that's exactly why I bought the 77-inch S89C. SB Digital says for $17.99. I still can't believe that price tag, because I bought my I thought I got a really monster deal on it too. I got my 77-inch A80J for like $25.99 at Black Friday, and I was like, yeah, this is such a sick deal. So it's crazy to see 77-inch TVs for that price, especially QD OLED, right? QD OLED you expect to be at a premium. I could jump to a 77 says Cypher, but I kind of want to wear out the 65-inch size first. 65-inch is a really good sweet spot for a lot of people. It's like I'm looking at a 65-inch right now. It's viewable. It's watchable for me in a room this size. I still want 77 though. Like jumping from 77 to 65 was so big. Oh my god, that was such a big jump. That was the craziest TV size adjustment jump that I made. Like, you want to talk about having everything feel like really immersive. Jumping to that 77-inch A80J when I had it in here for a while. Oh wow. It's downstairs now, hanging up, but like, oh my goodness. That was some fun time. I had some good experiences on the A80J. This pinball demo. Yeah. There are some really overpriced TVs out there. You know, some of the models that are overpriced to me is like some of those God, I'm losing my voice. I was just saying, like, I hope I don't lose my voice. I'm not losing my voice, I'll be fine. But some things that are overpriced to me is like the edgelit TVs that are the same price as full array TVs. That to me, that's more egregious than some of these more expensive TVs. You guys know what TVs I'm talking about. How there's like edgelit and direct lit for the same price as what you can get some of the TCL Hisense full array TVs for. All right, let me look through chat, see if I missed anything. Appreciate you all stopping by tonight. It was cool. I thought it would be great to have just like conversation chat, you know? Like, I kind of wanted to do gaming and chat at the same time, and I realized that's like almost impossible. I'd have to shut up when I'm gaming most of the time. I guess I could just in the future play gameplay videos that I record or something, because playing games and chatting is hard. I don't know how streamers do it. I don't know how they do it. I mean, they ignore chat most of the time. I'm not trying to ignore chat. I was definitely trying to have conversations. And Lisa, thank you. I appreciate it. She says, we love your live streams. I appreciate that. And when we don't show up TVs, you know, I'm going to have more topical conversations and stuff. Like right now, I do have like the luxury of showing you some TVs. So all the new TVs, I'm trying to show you these TVs while they're all new and people have questions on them. But later, you know, when we get into time for people to like think about buying decisions and prices get a little bit more affordable, we talk about Black Friday coming up, things like that. That's when I think streaming is really fun, because like I get to answer a lot of questions on like what's the best value here and what do you think of this TV over this TV. And then once I see all the TVs, then I can give you better perspective too. I still got to see the Bravia 8. I still got to see some TCL Hisense TVs. So far, Hisense, I only seen the U7N. I liked it a lot. I thought it was good for what it is. and I have a U8K. I thought it was very similar to that. So the U8N should be pretty impressive. Should be a nice step up. I saw it at CES. I thought that was cool. U9N would be awesome, but that's only a 75-inch, so that's going to be a tough one for me to get. We appreciate you not ignoring chat. Yeah, man. Like I said, I always answer questions whenever I see them. You don't have to super chat, and I tell that to people every time, but thank you for those that do. It is very much appreciated, and it helps keep things going. So that's really awesome when people do show their support that way, but it's never required, never feel obligated to do so. But those of you that do it, thank you. It really does mean a lot, you know, but don't feel obligated ever. You check the game bar when testing. So let me switch back to the PlayStation real quick, because I didn't go over some of the settings and stuff, like I said, and that's my bad. So give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I have to put this screen up really quick, because when I turn on the PlayStation, it shows all these profiles, and yeah. Now let's go back to Spider-Man. Sprite game. Yeah, it's a good question though. I do want to make sure like I showcase this real quick. So let me get on top of this roof or something. Let me get into some light here. All right, here we go. So you want to see the game bar, right? Black equalizer is set to low by default. So here's what it looks like, right? It kind of makes things look a little bit more clay, I would say. Not a big fan of it personally. Some people like the look. But I don't. So like I'm not personally a big fan of it. And then on high, that's what it looks like, right? So it looks like kind of like you took a crayon and you colored things in a little bit. More pastel looking, I would say. And as you go up, it gets even worse. It's designed to let you view the shadows a little bit better in like shooters, right? That's what it's designed. It's designed to be a cheating mechanism pretty much for first-person shooters. I do not recommend playing with it on. Like, do you see what you lose here? You go from high to off, right? Like, if you want a little bit more brightness, you go to brightness preferred for your HDR. That's what I would do personally. Now, again, your preference, you do what you want. But I would definitely just rather go with brightness preferred if you do want more brightness out of your image. Since advanced contrast enhancer is gone, I wonder, like, I don't know why they took it out, but yep, that's what I would personally do. Again, like if you want color, right? There's live color, for example. Some people don't like playing on expert. They like to play on cooler color temperatures. Live color, though, a lot of people like using live color on high. It's all preference. There's no wrong answers here. A lot of people think that, just cranking this up to like 60 color is fine too. Again, all preference, nothing wrong with it if you do it. If you don't do it, I'm just showing you there are options. And then the picture mode options here, like it's on standard by default, right? But you see FPS game, that's where the black equalizer is on. So this is just like swapping back and forth. Which one do you like better? Like, do you see what I mean about like it's looking a little bit more pastel, kind of colored? And then RTS game, I have it more set to like a darker thing. So I got the gamma at -2 because it will make the black levels look a little bit better at -2, right? So that's fine for me personally. And then I have it at gradation preferred. You could even drop the black levels a little bit if you play a game maybe that has like black level rays. You can drop the black levels. We'll only do that if you feel like you need to, because you will crush blacks if you do that. And then I have it on warm here because I was trying to like just test out a different mode and try to have it look different. So between the RTS game and standard game, you can see it's a little bit darker. And then my standard game, I do have set to brightness preferred. So gradation preferred there, and -2 gamma, and then brightness preferred. And then this is like if you want to look into shadows, but it like I think it wrecks the image personally, but that's just me. Good that you tested it with it off though. Yeah. I just I can't stand the look of it personally. That's just me. So some other things you can do is you can have a custom screen size. A lot of people are like, why would you want to do this? Like, why would you want a smaller TV? So like if you're playing a first person shooter, right, and you have like an 85-inch TV and you want your viewpoint to just shrink a little bit so you don't have to scan as much, right? That's a use case for it. Other than that, I don't know. I don't have a use case for it other than that. And then crosshair, you can turn that on. That's pretty much on every game mode now. Motion blur reduction is black frame insertion. It's just gonna give you smoother motion. You can't see on camera, obviously. But if you see I go to high, you really see like there starts to be lines, right? Because the camera is a black frame insertion. Medium and low are not super noticeable. High is like a super high frequency. So use that if you want a little bit smoother motion to your games. It does reduce the brightness when you use it. Controversial opinion, but I think that OLED is and its like are doomed. Too many players in the LCD game, two in the OLED game. No one is going to invest and be third, fourth, etc. I mean, in the cheaper category, yes, but in the more premium category, I don't think OLED's going anywhere, and it's just going to keep getting better and better, right? As they keep evolving the technology, there is ways to go still for OLED. Like we still have phosphorus OLED not too far around the corner. You know, we definitely have more things in line for OLED in the future. So, but we also have advancements coming up in the LCD department too. So I don't think either of them are doomed. I don't think it's this whole like only one can survive doom or gloom situation. I don't think it's anything like that. It's more so just like they're two different technologies doing two different things. You pick the one that you like the best. You don't have to make it a war. Custom size defaults to bottom. I think you can change it. It might default to bottom. I think that's what it was doing for me. Let's see. It just saves it. So it just saves it to whatever you had it at. It doesn't look like I can move it top or bottom. I don't see that option. Interesting. I do remember seeing that though. Yeah, and there's like there's a lot of stuff in the works for OLED. That's a good point. So only BOE, AUO, CSOT makes LCDs. Is what I'm told. It's hard to know. Like premium options, I still think that's still gonna default to OLED, right? Like Master Series, if Sony does it next year, it's going back to OLED most likely. I think they're done with the whole Master Series thing, by the way. It's just a terrible name, first of all. Like they should have dropped it a long time ago. But for their flagship, I think it's gonna be an OLED next year. Like I'm willing to bet money that it is. When it comes down to power consumption, which is better, OLED or LED, I'm not quite sure. I think it varies on the model, but I think OLED does a really good job with power consumption in mind. I have to look. I mean, it probably would vary from model to model. I don't know off the top of my head if there's just like one or the other that's just extremely better. It's not a question that I really know personally. So it's a good question. Which TV company has the best settings? I think Sony. I think Sony has the best like settings just because there's a lot available here. Okay, like not in game mode, there's not as much, but there's still a lot even in game mode, right? Like you have reality creation, which is really cool. I like it a lot. You have all the live color. You're starting to get that with other brands too. LG certainly has an expansive set of features and settings that you can go through. I think Samsung's probably the one that needs the most work in terms of like, let's get some more settings. We don't have enough things to adjust on Samsung. That's just a personal preference, though. Did you hear a stomach growl? Nah, you probably just heard this. I bumped this thing. Sounded like that, probably. All right. Well, caught up on questions, and it's about time for me to head out. So thank you all for stopping by. It was a fun live stream. Sorry if it wasn't as much gaming as like I said originally. It's just one of those things where it's kind of hard to do and answer questions, and I really wanted to make this just a stream to talk and answer questions. But hopefully, like, let's sort of just put this whole thing to bed where it's like, stop comparing the Bravia 9 to an OLED as like which one is better for you personally. Like, that's what matters the most. Like, which one do you want? Don't worry about what people are saying is better. Like, science-wise is going to point to OLED always beating the Bravia 9 in a lot of categories, especially with contrast in mind, right? But the Bravia 9 can do things that some OLEDs can't do. And some OLEDs are better than others at getting close to where the Bravia 9 is, like full screen brightness, for example. I haven't seen an OLED personally that has the same kind of full screen brightness as the Bravia 9. So if you admire that, you have that. And yeah, I don't know. I hope that the G4 versus Bravia 9 video is satisfying for people. I mean, I did my best to look at a lot of different aspects and provide logic into the conversation. So, yeah, hopefully you guys get that. Hopefully you do. But overall opinion on the Bravia 9 is I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's a good TV. It doesn't have to be OLED. So, yep. In the future, I kind of want to do the Bravia 8. So, we're going to try to work on getting a Bravia 8. It'd be nice. I have an A80L. So, I'd love to do Bravia 8 versus A80L versus C4. Appreciate all the love in chat, guys. Thank you. Have a great night, and thank you for watching. See you next time. Peace.